Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about pets and whether you have a cat or a dog. And of course, those are the two main categories that we're going to be talking about, or some other kind of pet. I may have some recommendations for you. We also have a wonderful book that I want to talk about. Two of my colleagues have written a book, and actually it's out in its second or maybe even third printing. Very, very helpful. So if you do have an animal, you want to make sure that you're using this particular resource for you and for your pets. And so I'm going to get started actually right away talking about essential oils and pets. When we talk about essential oils and pets, obviously we're going to be talking about pets of all sizes. Some of the pets we're going to be talking about are going to be smaller or larger. Others of them are going to be a little bit less common. So we're going to be talking today, in today's presentation, I'm talking primarily about cats and dogs, but I want to make sure actually that we're talking about everybody and all of their pets so that everybody feels like we're covered. Okay, so most of you know me. I'm Elena Yordan. I just wanted to welcome everybody back. We are here for the, I don't even know, the 700th time. I'd love to find out. Actually, I have to get a sense of how many times we've been on these lives. Today, actually, you can see behind me that I'm in a hotel, and actually, I think for the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to be in a hotel. I'm taking one day off, so you're not going to see me. I think it's in 2 weeks, but I am in a hotel. Today, I'm in actually an unexpected hotel. I expected to be in my house, but my aircon died, and my house got very hot very quickly because we're in a really big heat wave. If you can see out the window, you can see the window a little bit. Today's a little bit less sunny, so we're hoping that it's going to be a little less warm, but it was, I think it was 39 degrees, and it was really pretty hot. And 39 is about 102, I want to say, or 101. On our second floor, it was getting hotter and hotter. And so we left, we decamped for a hotel, and we'll see what happens. And the gentleman who usually does our repairs told us maybe today, but maybe sometime tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so most of you know me. I want to get right into it. I want to talk about this wonderful book, Spoil Your Pet. So my two friends, Mia Frezzo and Jan Jeremias, actually wrote this book. I want to say it's coming up on 10 years now, it might be slightly less. Spoil Your Pet. Mia Frezzo is a veterinarian, and Jan Jeremias is a scientist, and the two of them collaborated to put together this amazing book, which basically talks about how to help your pet and also help yourself so that you really become very knowledgeable. It's an easy to read book. It's not super big, so it's not a coffee table book. It's something that you could have with you all the time in an area right next to your bedside table and just quickly flip through it. Extremely easy to use. It is available on Amazon. I am not paid to say this, but I love the two of them, and I love their book, and I think they did a wonderful job. And they're in their 3rd edition. Yes, I can see on the cover here, it is available on Amazon. We'll actually post the link below, so you'll be able to click on it if you'd like to purchase one of those books. I think it's one of the best things that you can have as a pet owner, pet lover, having a pet as a family member. You really want to have this in your I don't know, in your collection, if you will. Mia has actually spoken at some of the doTERRA conventions, and she's a lovely lady, really, really lovely lady, married with 3 children, and obviously loves animals. So just keep it in mind, look it up if you don't have it already. Probably some of you already do, but we want to make sure that you're just able to find this if you need it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's that smell, right? We realize that pets have a very keen sense of smell. It has to do with how, and it's really that their smell is magnified because of the smell receptors that they have in their nose. Dogs have 220 million smell receptors, and cats have about 45 to 80, so 40 to 80 million. In comparison, humans only have about 5 million receptors. So that's a big difference, folks. folks. So that's why it's really important for us to understand how to properly use essential oils around our pets. If you're not careful, you could unknowingly cause them maybe skin irritations, or just make them unhappy, or maybe cause even allergies or other unwanted side effects. Diffusing essential oils or using them around your home with pets can very often be more or less the same thing. So we want to talk about how we're going to use them, how much we're going to use, and some of the basic guidelines that you need to know if you're going to be using essential oils around your pets. So we always want to talk about quality when we're talking about essential oils. I know some of my listeners on YouTube use different brands. I use doTERRA essential oils because I've used other brands in the past, as some of you know, and I've switched because of the commitment to quality. So the testing, the scientific evidence, the commitment to just really being in that lane of purity and quality, there is no comparison, which is why they're the biggest essential oil company in the world. My primary goal today is to teach you how to use essential oils safely around pets, but you want to make sure that the essential oils that you're using, and look, we've all been there, right? Maybe we had a couple bottles of something else in our house. Maybe we picked it up at a grocery store or whatever. We want to make sure that we're using something that's pure when we're talking about our pets. So we want to test our oils if we're going to be using essential oils around pets, testing our oils in small doses in order to avoid toxicity, making your pet sick. This is a really big deal, right? Just because an oil is considered safe for your pet, it might not safe for pets, or even for, let's say, cats. Let's use cats as an example. Doesn't mean that it's safe or that your pet will like it, right? So people's preferences or tolerances vary, and so do pets. So we want to make sure when we're using an oil for the first time, we start out slowly testing it around our pet, using very small amounts, making sure there's no visible side effects. So some side effects that pets can exhibit are things like wheezing, maybe whining, sniffing, nervousness, even excessive scratching can be an indicator that this was just not the right thing for them. So we want to make sure, obviously, when we first start using essential oils, that we're using very, very small amounts, because we don't want to cause our pets any distress. We want to begin by adding 1 to 2 drops of a pet-friendly essential oil to a diffuser and allow it to the scent to permeate for about 15-minute intervals. So that would mean 15 minutes on with the diffuser blowing, and then 15 minutes off with the diffuser not blowing. The other thing you want to make sure to do is to leave the door open. Don't lock your pet in the space, put them in a bedroom, and then turn the diffuser on and close the door and do an experiment. Allow them to come in and out as well at will. As we know, pets will often investigate things in a different way than people. They'll wander in, maybe they'll sniff around, they'll wander out again. Same with certainly cats and dogs can exhibit the same type of behavior when they are investigating something or curious about something that's new in their environment. Diffusing essential oils can be a great way to calm an anxious pet, but we always want to make sure that we don't cause them additional anxiety by any sort of diffusing or our own actions. So keep that in mind when you're using your essential oils, especially if you're going to be diffusing them. So if you're intending to use an essential oil topically, you want to never apply it first without diluting it with a carrier oil, especially for pets, even the largest pets. And some of you were on the chat before we got started talking about the size of your pets. Some of you had really tiny pets, maybe a couple, 3 kilograms, which is kind of tiny for a dog. And I'm sure cats will weigh even less than that. Some cats can be maybe even a single kilo, especially when they're small or when they're babies. So we want to make sure that when we're using essential oils topically, we are diluting. So I would, by diluting my essential oils with fractionated coconut oil, you could also use a little bit of olive oil right out of your cabinet if that's the only thing that you had. Your oils might be too potent for your 4-legged friend. We also want to make sure that when we are applying them directly to your pet. You're going to apply them to your own hands first, to your own palms. Rub your palms together like this, and then kind of either place your palms right on the coat of your pet or gently pet your pet. We're not rubbing down into the fur or down to the skin of the animal. We want to just have it coated on top of the animal. You want to avoid placing essential oils, just like the people, around sensitive areas, the eyes, the mouth, the nose, the ears, and in the case of pets, the groin area. And also you're going to be applying oils to horses. You don't want to apply essential oils under the saddle or the tack, right? So we're going to apply it where they have fur, right? Not down to the skin. And we want to be mindful of quantities, especially when we're thinking about smaller smaller animals. Okay, let me give you a couple of general do's and don'ts. So you do want to dilute when we're talking about essential oils and pets. You want to start with 1 drop. You want to monitor and observe your pet, and you want to care for different animals in different ways. So if you have multiple animals, you want to be watching them all, right? And you want to make sure you wash your hands before petting your animals and applying oils to yourself. So here's an interesting factoid. You can act as a human diffuser when you're around your pets. So you want to be mindful when you're applying a lot of essential oils to yourself. Maybe you have an injury. Maybe you're trying to elicit some sort of response in yourself. Apply your essential oils and then wash your hands before then petting your pet, right? So you don't want to apply undiluted essential oils to your pet. And even diluted mixtures, making sure around those sensitive areas, and then warming oils, right? We want to be careful with those warming oils. Those can be things like peppermint, oregano, clove, and thyme. And when you read the book, you're going to see in what circumstances you can use some of these essential oils, very diluted. I'm not going to go into that here. I really want you to take a look at that book. But Dr. Fresno often recommends some of these essential oils in tiny quantities to combat some of the more severe conditions that some of her pet patients have unfortunately had to deal with. So go seek out the book by Mia Fresno and Jan Jeremias, and you'll get even more information there. Okay, essential oils and cats. So this is a special category. Why? Because cats are much smaller than dogs in general. Cats have different physiology, different physiognomy, right? And they tend to characteristically be different than dogs. You want to give your cat time to acclimatize or acclimate, right, to different oils around the house. You want to start topical application by using only a single drop at a time and diluting with 4 parts of carrier oil. So some of the great essential oils that we have for cats include things like cardamom, eucalyptus, diffused only, geranium, frankincense, helichrysum, juniper berry, lavender, lemongrass, marjoram, myrrh, sandalwood, and spikenard. So some of the ones that you can use with your pets. And we're going to be giving a really super duper prize away at the end today. So if somebody's not on yet, they don't have a pet, you can say to them, come on to the pet call. You still got a little bit of time. We'll be on here for a while longer, and we'll give away a super duper prize at the end. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is dogs. A little bit different, right? So when you're talking about dogs, you need to dilute at least a 75% mixture using 1 to 5 drops to carrier oil. So when we're using we're using essential oils on dogs, we can increase that ratio so that we do have, with cats, we talked about a ratio of maybe 4 to 5 drops of essential oil to 1 single drop, whereas dogs, depending on the size of the dog, we could either increase the drops of essential oils, so we're getting up to a 75% mixture. So we're talking about 8 drops of a carrier oil and 2 drops of an essential oil to get to that 75% mixture. Avoid using essential oils in puppies under 10 weeks. And then if you're going to be applying to the paws, you want to really apply in very, very small amounts because the paws of our pets are extremely porous. If you're looking for more information about how and when to apply to paws, check out the book, Spoil Your Pets. Oils approved for dog use, and you're going to see there's some overlap here. Cedarwood, digestion, frankincense, geranium. lavender, juniper berry, lemongrass, marjoram, and Roman chamomile. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's some oils that in general dogs really tend to like. My sister-in-law, one of my sisters-in-law, has a small pug, super cute, but also can be very nervous and doesn't like to travel in a car. And about 2 years ago, they got stuck in a snowstorm driving. She lives in Washington, D.C., driving from Washington, D.C. to New Jersey, which usually is about a 4 to 5 hour drive. But because of the snowstorm, it took them almost, I think, 9 or 10 hours. The poor dog was literally frantic by the time they finally arrived. They were trying to stop, but with the snow, it was very difficult. They really couldn't stop and let him out because he is a fairly small dog. By the time he arrived in New Jersey, he was just a frantic mess. And luckily, I had my lavender oil on hand. She was able to put a little bit of lavender oil right on her palms and then gently pet the animal. And he had been running around the chairs and running around everybody's feet and scratching uncontrollably, just a real tense, anxious pet at that moment. And she put her dog on her lap, petted him gently with some lavender oil, and within, I want to say, 2 to 5 minutes, not a long time, the dog was just sound asleep, just sleeping on her lap and really just relaxing, and just so much less tense. And you could see how he kind of breathe a sigh of relief when she put the lavender oil on him. So a really wonderful testimonial, and a relatively small dog. I want to say that dog is about no more than 5 kilos, but maybe less. Let's say between 3 and 5 kilos. Let's talk a little bit about signs of toxicity, because this is a kind of important one. Even subtle signs can indicate your pet is not tolerating a certain essential oil well. Therefore, it's always pertinent for us to observe our pets when we're using essential oil. Common signs of toxicity, number one is, of course, changes in behavior. Are they starting to scratch? Have they lost interest in play? Are they lethargic? Do they have changes in eating habits or sleeping habits? Maybe signs of confusion, any digestive issues. This is particularly important. Anything having to do with their digestive, and I don't want to go to all of them, but things like diarrhea or constipation would absolutely be indicators that your pet is not tolerating essential oil well. You want to stop using essential oil immediately and contact your vet if you suspect any negative reaction to an essential oil. But in general, usually stopping the essential oil, whether it's diffusing it or applying it, should help your pet immediately. Some common pet conditions, as we know, that essential oils are perfectly suited for are things like arthritis and joint pain, anxiety, skin care, digestive support, respiratory support, ear health, pest repellent, immune support, brain function, mood stability, and cell growth and healing. So all of those can be used in our pets very, very well. They're a terrific way for us to support our pets and make sure that they are getting exactly what it is they need. So number one on the hit parade for both dogs and cats is marjoram. It's ideal for treating skin conditions. It can help calm the nervous system and reduce inflammation. You can use marjoram also to alleviate any sort of stressed or achy joints, muscles, or tendons. And the best application is to apply it with a mixture of carrier oil, let's say 2 or 3 times a week, to overall kind of coat the pet, right? You could apply it directly to the area of concern. So if it was perhaps the hips, you would apply it directly to the hip area, making sure to make that the animal is not perhaps scratching the area and then getting the essential oil in their eyes. So you want to be mindful. How does my pet usually sit? How do they scratch? The other thing we want to be mindful of with cats, of course, is licking. So we want to be sure that we haven't applied too much essential oil to their fur, so that then they would then be licking the essential oils off. If marjoram does not work as expected, 2 of the other oils that I really like are cedarwood and myrrh. Let's talk about lavender. I have to say lavender is on my top of my list for all chronic conditions, anything having to do with your pet, anything having to do with us, with our children. It's really just lavender. It's so incredibly versatile. And an extremely soothing essential oil. We can use it for anxiety-ridden pets, right? Reducing hyperactivity. It can be mildly sedative, but very, very relaxing. We want to make sure that during car rides, as I explained with my pet-in-law, I don't know, because she's my pet-in-law, right? The dog. Car sickness, a really important one. Dogs can get sick if you're on very windy roads. You can use it topically for burns, bruises, bug bites, flea bites, also aid in wound healing. Lavender does have antiseptic and antifungal properties, so it's perfect to be applying onto smaller animals in small quantities if they have any sort of skin or skin I don't want to say skin abrasions, I guess, skin illnesses. Yes, more or less. Okay, if lavender doesn't work, then you want to go for your Roman chamomile or your clary sage, which can also be very calming for pets. Okay, next on the hit parade is our helichrysum, and this is actually the oil that we're going to be giving away today. So super exciting. We've got 2 helichrysums for 2 lucky winners. It is known as a powerful antidote to anything that bites, including other cats and dogs. So if your pet is in a fight and gets bitten or scratched by another animal, apply your helichrysum. It has antiseptic properties that can aid in the healing of broken capillaries, soft swellings, and bone, any sort of bone issues. So if your pet were to have a broken bone, obviously you would bring them to the veterinarian, but applying maybe around whatever area that had been treated to help with the healing of the bone and the muscle and the ligament. Helichrysum has antibiotic and antifungal properties, should be diluted just like any other essential oil on your smaller pets, of course. And it can also stimulate the liver and can aid in detoxification, making it good for animals who have a tendency to vomit or need to clear mucus from the lungs. Of course, you want to encourage your pet always, whenever you're applying essential oils, to drink lots of water so that they can basically flush out whatever it is that's troubling them. So just like us, when we take a lot of essential oils, we want to make sure that we're drinking. And on that note, I'm going to have a little bit of water. I'm drinking out of a paper cup because I'm not in my house. I know I'm talking super fast today, but I wanted to make sure that I get all the information in, because I have to say, this is an interesting subject. I've never taught on pets before. I've touched on it in some other presentations, but I was looking through my presentation kind of library of all the presentations that I've done over years, and I've never done one specifically in pets. Crazy, right? Who would have thought? Okay, let's talk a little bit about cedarwood. Cedarwood is one of my favorite essential oils for humans. And of course, it's a great one for pets because it is mild and it does do some terrific things. It is, number one, it's known for its ability to repel and kill pests such as fleas. So if you're thinking of your own self, we know that cedarwood can be excellent in closets. We think of a cedar closet or a cedar chest that can keep away any kind of bugs or moths that might be chewing up on our sweaters. You all know my sweater story. Having not put my cedarwood in my closet, I wound up with kind of a, I don't know, like just a lacy effect on all of my sweaters one year. Learned my lesson, won't do that again. It does have some antiseptic properties for the lungs and expectorant for coughs. So if your pet is troubled by anything in the lungs, this might be the oil for you. It also stimulates circulation and works wonders for aging pets that are experiencing joint stiffness, arthritis, maybe back pain. It can help to eliminate dandruff, strengthen kidney function, and can use as a general calming tonic for nervous aggression. So think calming, and then also kind of stimulating the nervous system. Really, I mean, stimulating circulation, right? Decreasing toxicity, and also decreasing tension and anxiety. Pets who are especially shy or timid, or those who need a greater sense of inner security, including those who have separation issues, right? Cedarwood is your essential oil. So you want to be applying that, getting them accustomed to it before you just say, okay, here's your cedarwood and off I go. You want to maybe take the time to diffuse it in their space and maybe wear it on yourself so they can really become accustomed to the smell, and then gently applying it to them. I've always felt like essential oils with pets are one of those things where it's a little bit of trial and error, but it's also a process. It's almost like introducing new foods to a baby, that we don't immediately give the baby, I don't know what, a meatball hero, right? We don't do that. We start with soft, mushy things. We start the things that are mild. We maybe eat in front of the baby so the baby can see us eating. Same thing is true with essential oils. As long as we're using essential oils in amounts that are appropriate and the essential oils that are appropriate for our pets, we really can make the transition fairly quickly. You know how babies are. The minute they see you eating, they begin to follow back and forth. Wow, what is mom eating? What is dad eating? And then they'll quickly chime in. Okay, let's talk a little bit about frankincense, right? The granddaddy of all essential oils. It's considered to be a little bit less potent than some of the essential oils, making it ideal for numerous conditions. And when I say less potent, I don't mean less effective. What I mean is it tends to be very, very mild, right? So common uses for frankincense is that it's disinfectant, it's antiseptic, it's anti-inflammatory, it's calming, it's soothing to the skin. It can reduce scarring. It can be used topically on tumors, because I know some pets are plagued with small tumors, to strengthen the immune system, and also for the healthy development of the brain, skin, and cellular function. And it can help with things with even with digestion, which is interesting. I had not heard that before. So use your frankincense on your pet. I know it's expensive, but you're going to be diluting it and using it in very small quantities. And what a beautiful gift that you can give your pet. Kind of, I'm using something and I'm going to be able to use the same thing in our pets. Here's another thing that I want to suggest to you. Now that everything has suddenly become so incredibly expensive, right? I don't care where you are in the world, all prices have just kind of skyrocketed. Everything from clothing to food to medicines, everything has gone up. Essential oils are a hedge against inflation. Why? Because a couple of different reasons. Number one is you have the ability to dilute, and really stretch that bottle really far. The other thing is you're able to use one product for everyone in your family. And for me, I always vote for essential oils, because when I do consider all the ways that I've wasted money, the other day I was going through a cabinet and I found an old bottle of an antihistamine, actually an anti-allergy medication, the kind that you would take if you were really in a crisis. And the price tag was still on it, and it was an old price tag, and it said $5.99. And I thought to myself, that bottle today is probably closer to $9 US, which sounds crazy if you think about it, almost 100% inflation. And of course, the bottle was expired, not a little expired, long expired. So that $5.99 or that $6, I could have literally taken it and burned it, because we didn't use a single drop of it. We didn't use a single pill out of that bottle. Thankfully, we didn't have any serious allergies, because you say, oh, well, it was kind of like an insurance policy, but now I would have used my essential oils, right? This was a leftover from a long time ago before I had essential oils. So keep that in mind as prices are going up. As you're talking to your friends and family about essential oils are a hedge against inflation. They can keep you healthier. They can help you to use a natural product for really everything. And most essential oils have multiple uses. So instead of having a whole collection of products that we kind of sort through and grab from time to time when we need them, we have maybe a single product or a small group of products that we can travel with. We don't have to buy travel sizes. We can use in our homes, and we can use in everyone that we know. So keep that in mind. I think everybody's very concerned about prices right now. If you're concerned about prices, let me know in the chat, because I like to really hear that. We've had fortunately, in doTERRA, we have had price controls really for a long time. We've seen only a few key products go up in price, but in general, our pricing has been very, very stable. Okay, let's talk a little bit about geranium. particularly useful for flea and tick prevention. Many pet parents have turned to this natural alternative, and as opposed to chemical-ridden products. We want to be careful with our pets' livers always, because they are very tiny compared to the, the size of our pet. And it can be used, geranium can be used just like in humans, to balance hormones, to enhance blood circulation, boost emotions, and reduce feelings of stress and depression. It's also a wonderful oil to calm pets' nerves. I have to say, even in humans, geranium is one of those oils. And I know not everybody loves geranium. It can be one of those essential oils that can be really key if we're troubled with just sadness, chronic sadness that we can't overcome. Geranium is one of those oils that you want to make sure that you're adding into your regime or your daily regimen. Let's talk a little bit about lemongrass. Lemongrass is an interesting one, right? Because I would say I'm not so sure about lemongrass, because for adults, for humans, it tends to be fairly strong, but it's actually really good for pets. You may know of lemongrass oil as a popular insect repellent. Did you know that many things like fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes are all repelled by its high citral and geraniol content? And a few drops to a glass sprayer bottle can spray not only your pet's fur to kill fleas, but it will keep them away, which is more important. So if you're going to be hiking, walking outdoors, you want to make sure that you're spraying down your pet beforehand. Some of our pre-mixed insect repellents, like from doTERRA, like Terra Shield, may have just too many ingredients for a smaller pet. So stick to a single essential oil used in a water spray bottle. If you're going to be walking around, maybe outdoors, maybe hiking with your pet, want to make sure that they're protected, of course, from ticks. And then certainly when you return home, you want to check yourself and your pet for any ticks. None of us want to get tick bites, right? If we can help it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about safe storage. We're almost at the end of our presentation. Thank you for having been here. It's been a really wonderful way to talk to all of you about a completely new topic. You want to make sure that you're keeping your essential oil bottles and your diffusers out of harm's way. So I don't think cats and dogs are going to go in your, of course, they're not going to go into small cases and unzip them. But if you leave bottles out or you leave them without caps, they can be knocked over. They could be licked inadvertently. They may have a smell or something that is appealing to your cat or dog, and you want to make sure that they're not eating that unintentionally. Also, diffusers, if it's a water-based diffuser, certainly it should be securely in a place that's secure, not in a place where it could be easily knocked over. You don't want your pet to get water or essential oils kind of dumped on them. It would be a shock to them, and I'm sure you wouldn't be happy either. Storing things in a closed cabinet or on a high shelf, and we want to clean up any spills immediately, right? We want to keep diffusers away from places where pets would sleep, because we want to be mindful of what we're doing near them. And then, of course, keeping all our essential oils in their original dark containers. And if we have to make up our own mixtures, again, mixing them up in dark containers. We want to talk briefly about a couple of oils you want to avoid if you're a cat parent specifically. Citrus scents can contain polyphenolic compounds that may affect how your cat's liver detoxifies, and large doses can cause a buildup of toxins to accumulate in your cat system. So be mindful of citrus essential oils if you're a cat parent. Talk to your vet, of course, and then also check out the book, Spoil Your Pets. If you're a dog parent, the oils we want to be talk about are what I'm going to call the stronger or the hot oils, things like clove, wintergreen, thyme, maybe oregano. But even in small quantities, some of these essential oils can be used to great advantage, especially on larger breeds. Read the book. Don't just take my word for it. There are oils that you can use on pets, especially, and if you have a holistic veterinarian, they'll be able to guide you in the use of essential oils with pets. Dr. Mia Frezzo is one of a small but growing community of veterinarians who does incorporate essential oils into their practice. We want to make sure that wherever you are, you're seeking out the same type of veterinarian, someone who's willing to listen to you and to talk to you about your concerns for your pet and how you'd like to be able to use something a little bit more natural on your pet, especially for everyday concerns. Let's do a quick recap before we go. We always want to be concerned or want to be thinking about the safety of your pets and clearing many of these things with your veterinarian. You want to make sure that's just because it's an essential oil and you can use it. Want to be kind of talking to your pet, if you will, about it, using it on your hands, allowing them to smell your hands. I found very often if I apply a single drop to the palms of my hands and then just open my palms so the dog or cat can sniff them, that'll be enough of a way for them to get a sense of, yes, this is something pleasant, or no, and they're kind of walking away from me. Certainly, if you suspect any sort of toxicity issues, make sure stop using the essential oil, and then obviously contact your veterinarian. We've got some great resources for you. I'm going to post them in the notes below, and then and maybe even in the chat, so you can take a look at them both online, and also a link to the book that I've mentioned several times already. Thank you for having been here. This has been a wonderful a kind of a wonderful and fun new topic. I have to say, this dog is super cute, and with those glasses, he's just adorable. Please follow and subscribe. Take a minute if you're not subscribed already to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, so every time we come out with a new video, you're able to get the information right away. And remember, you're amazing. I just want to make sure that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Keep in contact with us. We're going to be all over the place. Right now, I'm still in New Jersey, but as I mentioned, I'm in a hotel, but over the next few weeks, I'm going to be traveling, and I'll be here back and forth. And please check the schedule so you know when we'll be coming back. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And thank you so much for having been here. Okay. We are kind of in the home stretch, I would say, of this year. We are, and when I say this year, I mean really kind of our doTERRA year, if you will, because we're going into the season of getting ready for convention. And for those of you who don't know, our convention this year is in the second week of September. You should be checking your dates and times. And if you're going to convention, I am looking forward to seeing you there. I will be there with bells on, unless something crazy happens here, but assuming none of it happens. We're super excited this year. I know doTERRA is coming out with an all new product line. We've gotten a sneak, the Blue Diamonds have gotten the Blues and Presidentials actually got a sneak peek of what's coming up. And let me just tell you, you are going to be amazed. It's something that we have been waiting for. So very, very exciting. I'm so happy that you're here today. Let me pick the winners. And yes, I'm going to be giving away 2 HELICHRYSUMs today. Our 2 winners, let's see. Wow, it looks like we've got a lot of people on the call today. It's so good. So good. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say farewell to everybody who's on the everyone who's being recorded, who's on the YouTube being recorded. And then I'm going to stay on 1 more minute and talk to all my live people. Thank you so much for being here. If you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button and check out in the chat the notes below. And I'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye now.